Hello, everyone. I'm Laurel Donnellan. I am the founder and CEO of Compassionate Leaders Circle, and it's my honor to be with you today to talk about training to transform. Um, Welcome. As we go, I'd like you to please give us questions in the chat. We have people monitoring the chat, and they'll pass those questions on to me. And in addition, we'll be sending you a copy of this masterclass, so you don't necessarily have to take a lot of notes because there's a lot of information. A little bit about us. Compassionate Leaders Circle sees a world in which leading with love is a path to positive change, peace, and prosperity for all. Everything we do at Compassionate Leaders Circle is about compassion and love. We are both a media company and a education company. We're going to talk about one of our education programs today. We have lots of learning labs that relate to bringing compassion to work and amplifying compassion at work. One of those programs is Dream Lab. That's at the center of what we do, and it has to do with finding remarkable work. Lead Lab is about compassionate leadership skills. Coach Lab is about creating remarkable conversations. And today we're going to talk about Train Lab, which is about training to transform. And everything we do is wrapped in compassion. The Donnellan Culture Alignment Method is used in all of our corporate programs, because in all of our corporate programs, we customize the program to align it with your culture. I am very curious about why you're here. If you could put that in your chat, that would be awesome. If you're on LinkedIn Live with us, you can put that in the events page, and we'll pick that up. My team is out there gathering information from you, but I'm very curious about who you are and why you're here, maybe where you are geographically. For example, I'm in Western Michigan today, in Douglas, Michigan. Today, we're going to learn about the Compassionate Leadership Program and Compassionate Training. We're going to teach you about the 7 C's of compassionate training so you can apply that to your own practice. At the end of the masterclass, you'll have a 3-part action plan that you can take into your own work. And we'll give you enough information today to see if you want to continue with us, because we have a great program. And we have a few slots left for Train Lab that starts on June 2nd. So a couple of definitions for you. Compassionate leadership is the practice of using your head and your heart to inspire and influence other people, so you can in turn inspire and influence others. It's very much like ripple effects. Compassionate leadership is my passion, and we do a lot with that, including we have a podcast that we interview people from all over the world that are compassionate leaders. Every year we do an annual Compassionate Leaders Awards. We just had that a couple of months ago, which was fantastic. And I write for Forbes about compassionate leadership, which is a great honor. Compassionate training, which is the focus of today, is an experience designed and led by a compassionate trainer that results in trainees learning something new, trusting themselves, and transforming others. So it's really going deeper with your training and creating something that's really deep and meaningful and transformational. And how we do that is through the Donnellan training method. Whenever we help trainers or whenever we work with clients, we have a 3-part process. The first is really getting to know a culture and problem, discovering what the trainees need, and that happens through investigation. Then from there, we design a program with our clients. In the case of being a trainer, you do that with your trainees. And then you deliver the program and constantly improve that program by evaluation. Compassionate cultures have three things in common. The first is vulnerability to others. You have to have a place where people feel safe enough to be themselves and be vulnerable. The second is being compassionate to others and identifying where you can relieve suffering and prevent suffering. And the third is being self-compassionate. None of these things are really in an order. They have to happen all the time. And at the center of that is love. We believe in leading with love. The core of today is going to be talking about the 7 C's of compassionate training. There are things and questions that you need to ask when you're designing a program to make sure that your programs really sing and address the needs of your trainees. And we're going to go over those one by one. But here's a overview. The first is about change and what kind of change you want to create. The second is about the curriculum. The third is about customizing things so they work for your culture and your trainees. The fourth is about having great conversations in the process so that coaching is integrated into the training program. One of the things that we know really helps people learn is contemplative practices throughout the program and building community. And the last C is continuous improvement and making sure that you're learning from every experience that you deliver and you improve it as you go. Okay. So change. Change is the foundation of what you want to create. I think sometimes we offer training programs. I know I've done this in the past as a learning and people officer at an organization. Sometimes we just feel like we need a training program, but we don't stop to think about what we actually want to transform. So change is about the transformation you want to create. What are those things that you want to create? So if you're in private practice, you might have clients that want to get better at yoga. And so the programs that you're going to create is yoga related and maybe helping them with their practice. If you're in an organization, I work with lots of organizations these days that want to improve the ability of their remote workers to feel like part of the culture, because remote work is not going away, and in fact, it's probably going to grow over time. So think about those things you want to change or improve in your organization, and that's really the center of what you're going to be creating, and eventually it'll become part of your internal marketing or external marketing for what you want to create as well. Curriculum is frameworks. At Compassionate Leader Circle, we have lots of change models that we use as foundations for all those programs I mentioned earlier. But there's lots of easy frameworks that you can use. One of the ones we'll teach this summer is just this simple framework of past, present, future. We believe that you have to address all three of those things to really create change. So making sure that you're thinking about what you want to use as a story arc in your training program, or what frameworks or methods or models or research do you want to create is really important. So we have frameworks. You can create your own frameworks, and there's lots of frameworks and assessments out there that you can use, research that you can use as well. Customization. Most important for really making your program sing is getting into the seat of your trainee and understanding the culture that you're a part of. So what learning approaches are right for the trainees and culture? That can include, today we're doing a live online program. You might create something that is live in person, which is always fun. I've been enjoying that since the last few years of being with people three-dimensionally. You might create a hybrid program. So we work with the university every fall, and we do some of that through online learning, and we do other parts of it live. And you can also bring into some self-paced programs. So the learning approach, the cadence of the program is really important. What I'm finding in our consumer programs is people like things that are quicker and can be done in a weekend. We're trying to, sell programs that are longer. We used to do programs that were 14 weeks. Now our cadence for programs is usually 4 or 8 weeks. So cadence is important. The type of technology you're using, whether you're going to use online, in person, or hybrid, is important. And what has worked in the past and what hasn't worked in the past is really important to think about as well. So opening yourself up to new approaches, but also thinking about those things that are tried and true in your organization. Coaching, how can remarkable conversations enhance learning? So in our programs, we always set up people in coaching pairs. We actually have a lot of coaches and therapists and HR people in our programs, and that works really well with some clear boundaries around how to coach people. We also do something called fishbowl coaching in our group programs. And sometimes I create programs that include coaching, one-to-one coaching that can happen before or after a program. So those one-to-one conversations always enhance learning, and it's been my experience to always include that in a training program to really make them deeper and more valuable. I think sometimes in this busy world, we don't slow down enough. So contemplative practices and helping people go deeper with their learning is really important. We use sometimes writing and journaling to do that. We also use guided visualizations. Sometimes in retreats, we hire and bring in yoga teachers to provide a break. I like bringing people into nature and walking as part of the program. You can't necessarily do that when you're doing online programs, but we can do something right now to help us practice contemplative practice. So as long as you're not driving, I'd like you to close your eyes and focus in on your breath. Breathe in love and breathe everything else out. Breathe in love and bring everything else out. And if you can, in your mind's eye, I'd just like you to imagine something beautiful that will happen this weekend. I hope most of you are off, but some of you have to work, but you still deserve a break. So in your mind's eye, just imagine a moment, an event, a break of some sort that you're going to give yourself as a gift this weekend. Bring yourself into that experience. Bring that experience into your heart and then come back to the class. So through that visualization, as your trainer, I sort of gave you some homework. And the homework is to, no matter what's going on this weekend, whether you have to work or whether you're with family, that you find a little bit of time to give yourself a gift of contemplation. So I hope that you'll do that. When I work with people one-to-one, I've learned that everyone's contemplation looks different. Not everyone loves yoga or meditating. Some of my clients enjoy driving in the country as a type of contemplation. So whatever gives your brain a break and allows you to think in a new way and refresh yourself is a good practice and needs to be woven into all your training programs. Community is really an opportunity. I think sometimes we have people in rooms or online and forget that it's an opportunity to create a stronger web and a stronger community. So you should lean into that opportunity by thinking about who's facilitating the process during the program, and when the program's completed, to complete community. Not only the trainer, but who is in the program and how can they support each other, who's in the organization, who's in the community, that can support the transformation that's going to happen from your training program. You can do that through group chats. You can do that through follow-up calls. You could do that if you're lucky enough to be in an office. You can maybe bring people back together for reunion after the training program. But in order to leverage the community and have the transformation happen, you have to tap into the community and really be deliberate about that. And the last piece is continuous improvement. So understanding how you can take your objectives from the change question, what are the measurable results, and how can the process be improved? So those are the 7 C's. I'd love to get questions or comments from what I just covered. If you have any, please put them in the chat, and one of my colleagues will pass them on to me so we can discuss that before we get off the call. We'll pause here for a minute, and we'll get to that at the end if we don't have questions right now. So, a 7-day 3-point plan for you for taking this learning and moving it forward. Compassionate leadership, we talked about. My request is that you choose one action related to self-compassion, vulnerability, or compassion for others that you can do in the next 7 days. Self-compassion can be anything that is around self-care or reflection. Vulnerability might be something like, being true to your relationships by letting people know when you need help or when you need support. I happen to work with a lot of people that are helpers, so being vulnerable is sometimes hard for them, but it's so important to model that and to do that so that you can get the support that you need. And lastly is doing something for someone else that may need extra love or extra support. So choose one of these things to focus on and take one action related to that. In the area of compassionate training, I think we have in these programs, in these master classes, we attract people that are interested in designing training or enhancing training that they already are doing. So give yourself a week to think about a best idea for a training program. So maybe you've thought about things, maybe you need to brainstorm with your clients or your colleagues, but think about coming up with many ideas and then honing that into one idea for what you'd like to create, what kind of music you want to write in your training. And the last action is to get started with the first of the 7 C's. Think about what are the desired, measurable, and sustainable outcomes for this program that you want to create. So what are the specific things you want to do? Right now, I'm working on enhancing our Lead with Love program, which is about compassionate leadership skills. And my challenge is to help people that are already compassionate bring that compassion to work. And it's a tough one to create measurable, sustainable outcomes. We actually have created a compassionate leadership index to do that. And we have, I like 7. So we have the 7 C's of compassionate leadership that we actually assess before and after the program. So and this took me a long time to create. It didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen in a week. But that's the type of thing you want to think about. what is the training program around, and then digging deeper into what kind of changes you want to create for your trainees. So that's your homework for the next week. In addition, we'd love you to consider joining me this summer for Train Lab. It's an 8-week program. We have applications open now through Tuesday. So applications will close on Tuesday and the program begins 1 week from today. I think we have about 6 slots available. We're keeping this class pretty small to 24 people. And we'd love for you to be part of that, but it's first come, first serve. So let's talk about what is part of this program. The idea and the promise is to go from an idea to actual trainer program with trainee and trainer guides. You're going to have structure and support you need to create real change. We'll be going through the entire 7 C's that I went over today, but in a much deeper way and a much more practical way to relate to your program. You'll have an opportunity to work with amazing people. Our cohort is lots of people with deep experience, but also people that are new to training. So you'll be able to go deeper with your gifts. Maybe you've been stuck with how to get from idea to program, and we can get you unstuck, and you'll build a great community of interesting, compassionate trainers. So it's really a training incubator for professionals or people that want to professionalize their training practice. You'll get a practical project which relates to your business or your company or your culture. You'll be able to improve your skills and learn best practices. We're going to be focusing on confidence, resilience, and clarity. So you'll have a lot more confidence in yourself by the end of the 8 weeks. You'll learn techniques to reduce the stress of your trainees and yourself, and develop a comprehensive practical plan to make your new training program a reality. Here's some great people that have gone through this program. We have Aurelia, who's in Paris, who has an amazing practice herself, and she has a career coaching practice. Martel is a founder of a not-for-profit. And my friend Daryl here is a minister, a spiritual leader, a meditation facilitator. And I've been fortunate to have them in this program. Like I said earlier, we always do a pre and post assessment. This is the results that happen in a similar program that I delivered to a company a couple of months ago. And you can see that the results were great. We were able to move the needle on a lot of things that they wanted to happen in Train Lab. So just to review, this program is live from 12 to 1:30 Eastern on Fridays, but you can also take the class self-paced if you prefer, if that schedule doesn't work for you. We have lots of comprehensive guides and resources. You'll have a final project that'll take your training ideas and make them into a training program. You have me and some of my faculty members to support you, and an amazing community. There'll also be a communication group, so it's a great way to network with other trainers, healers, HR people. It's going to be an amazing summer. I hope you can join us. Lots of things included in the program. You get lots of resources, slide decks, videos, training guides, templates, and you'll get a certificate of completion. And as a bonus, you get a sense of a very comprehensive program that we created that's online. You'll have access to that. That's called Dream Lab, and it's a bonus worth another $497. So the investment is $1997. If you happen to be under 30, we have a deep discount for folks because we're really trying to recruit younger people to be trainers and give them the confidence they need to train people. We have payment plans if that's needed, and you can apply at compassionateleaderscircle.com. So as a closing, I'd love to hear anything and insights that you're leaving with or questions that you have. Again, you can put those in the chat, and I'll open up the airwaves here to my colleagues. And Natalie, if you want to come back on, you can join me.
Yeah, Laurel, we actually had
Yeah.
one question
Okay.
from Marjorie. She was asking, where do you find people are experiencing the most challenges today? And is that different from what it was last year?
Great question. I think I've seen a trend for, generally speaking, finding hope and inspiration, whether that's in their personal lives and their professional lives. So I don't think it's changed too much. It just seems to be more present and more urgent. I think lots of people are having a hard time adjusting to all the changes in the world that can be political, that can be financial, that can be economical. So I just think, generally speaking, I feel like more than ever, people need hope and transformation and answers. I think people are out of patience. So, recently I just got back this week from New Zealand, and I've never been there, and it's a very interesting culture. It's very remote, and there's a lot of nature, and it's just a slower pace. And I feel like I actually felt like the stress relieve, of my country and all the change that's happening here, leave me as I went to somewhere very remote, and there's only 5 million people in the whole country, so there's not too many people. There's more sheep than people. So anyway, I think generally speaking, whether it's in a corporate environment or a community or a family, people are looking for hope and inspiration and love. And I feel like that need is urgent, and I feel like the antidote is slowing down and going deeper, whether that's with your spiritual practice, your exercise, your family relationships. So anyway, that's a great question, and I'm coming from a very different place this week because I'm transitioning from New Zealand back to the US. I hope that answered your question, Marjorie. And if it didn't, please ask me another question. Any other questions? Natalie, do you have anything to say or any questions?
Yeah, I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all,
we can see you and we can hear you.
Okay, you can see me because I can't tell if I'm on.
Yeah, you're on. We see you.
We
hear
great.
You.
All right. Well, welcome back from way far away in the land of Kiwis. Looking forward to hearing highlights from your adventure. And just a word to folks. I actually took an incredible summer career accelerator with Laurel 4 years ago, and it was transformational. So, as the commercial would say, I'm not just a client of the hair club for men. I've actually taken advantage of it, whatever that line was. And when I say to you that the Donnellan method, as well as the mystical and positive energy that Laurel brings to everything that she does, is truly something that will touch you and in a way that will make you a better person and help you move along whatever is looking to be birthed and come out from inside your brain, your heart, or spirit, whatever you believe in. So I can't speak highly enough of her and the program and of what it can do individually and ultimately helping an organization, a culture, a not-for-profit, whatever you may be thinking about your listeners and viewers.
Thanks, Natalie. And Natalie will be part of the program. So if for no other reason, you should sign up to meet her. Any other questions, Finn?
Yes, we had one more from Marjorie again, a follow-up question. How are leaders adjusting to that, or are they?
That I think the people that had a strong center before COVID and before all these changes are doing well because they've gone even deeper. And a strong center could be, just understanding that their staff and their culture needs attending to and needs love and needs space and needs support. I work with a CEO, for example, that added therapists to his team so that not only people on his team could have therapy, but every family member of his team can have therapy. So I think there are people that understand that putting people first is important, and then during these turbulent times have just leaned into that and have done really well. I think others are trying to catch up. So, but there's hope for all of us. I think getting to what's important for your company, what's important for your team, and what's important for the world, and leading from that place, leading from a deep place. It's never too late to do that. And it's never too late to become a more compassionate leader or a more compassionate trainer. So I think it's a great time for development, whether you're a master or you're a novice, on resilience, on becoming a stronger leader, on becoming what I believe is an important part of leadership, which is becoming a stronger trainer. But I feel like some people are catching up, and others that had a strong center and a strong understanding of people and a strong understanding of the world are doing okay.
If I can just build on that, one of the things I've been finding in some of the conversations I've been having, I went to actually a great event put on by IBM this week, focused on veterans and leadership and the lessons we can learn from those who have served and now are entering the workforce or have entered and are giving back in that way. And it's that what was seen as the way to lead doesn't hold anymore from major, thinkers and doers, and the very principles that indeed even serving in the military, about loyalty, about service, about trust, are finding their way, and I think are resonating in a different way, that it's not just the HR people or the training people, not that there's anything wrong with that, but people who are responsible for P&L, for the quarterly numbers, are realizing I got to do something different in the way I'm leading to not only hold on to my talent, but to attract new talent to my organization.
Yeah, and I've heard this from Thomas Friedman and others that, in the world of AI and technology, AI is not going to replace hearts. So there is also just this practicality of there's so many things that machine learning and AI can do. And if you're going to have a career in the future, and if you're going to be a viable, sustainable, employed leader in the future, you have to lean into people skills and developing your heart and developing your intuition. And those things that everyone used to call soft skills, which I don't really like, but but I would say hard skills are hard skills. That's my takeaway from today. Anyway, love the questions. Any other questions from my team or anyone?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, so what do you think is the ROI on intentional breathing? Like, if I'm in the office and I need to take an intentional breathing break, how do I explain to my boss how that's still productive and still a good?
Well, your boss is cool with it, so you're lucky. But I think for some bosses that's not an okay conversation, right? The conversation might be, um, I need to take more frequent breaks. So can I do, in order to be productive, I need to take more. So the ROI is productivity. The ROI to the boss and to the organization is being more productive and being happier at work. And it might be, in some places they have meditation rooms and they're cool with you taking breaks. But for other places that might not be so cool. So I think it's more of a general conversation about taking breaks and then going for a walk or sitting in park and doing your own practice. For other people, it might be a bigger conversation about how to take intentional breaks or breathing breaks, or bringing yoga into your workplace. We just interviewed someone who was an executive at a very big company, and she had a gong in her office, and she would do sound healings in the middle of the day. So I think there's a continuum, and you have to meet your boss where they're at. You can't get too far ahead of them because you might freak them out. Does that make sense?
Your boss wears an Apple Watch. You can say, well, your watch probably tells you got to stand up right now. You got to drink water right now.
Yeah. So find commonality. And I think the best thing to do is start asking questions and be curious.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
Good. Any other questions before we go? Comments?
I just want to
Natalie?
extend a warm welcome to anyone who may be on the line or maybe watching replay from our extended Learn with Leaders friends and family who have also expressed interest in this program. And Laurel can speak more cogently about that incredible group that actually is outside the United States, but is really leading with love and compassion.
No, we have, that's a great point. So we have a partner in India. They're called Learn with Leaders. They're an education disruptor that has programs for high school students all over the world. And they have an amazing network of thought leaders, and mostly from Ivy League schools in the United States, that participate in their as facilitators in their programs. We have two colleagues from Learn with Leaders from India who are going to be taking our program live in the middle of the night, which I'm very honored. Not the ideal time zone for them or time for them. Yeah, so we have a great partnership with them, and yeah, this group will be international, so that's a really fun piece. So if you can't get to India this summer, you can join us and get a little bit of India through our participants. Okay. Well, I hope you all have an amazing holiday weekend. I hope those of you that are called will apply today to Train Lab and be with Natalie and I this summer for 8 weeks. And I thank my team, Kiana and Finn, that are out there taking care of all the technology. Bless you and have a great holiday weekend, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.